Welcome to Earth is Waking Up. I'm your host, Jeremy Anderson. Our guest today, Moira Bush, is originally from South Africa, where she successfully helped women in shanty towns to set up community-based businesses, to working in England helping women off the welfare system into self-employment. Moira has a passion for helping entrepreneurs, visionaries, and healers identify and transform hidden blocks to success using the color mirrors system of analysis. Moira is the author of Color Mirrors Oracle Cards, the book 8 Colors of Prosperity, Color Your Shadow Oracle Cards, and launching in 2020 a collaborative book written by members of the Magenta community Facebook group, The Magenta Way. She's founder of the Moira Bush Academy, an online school for the soul of business, for soul businesses. Thank you and welcome to the show, Moira.
Hello, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
So this show, The Inspired Change, is all about people waking up to who they are and what they're bringing to this world. And as they walk through that journey of awakening. And so I love, the more I learn about you and your work and the sense of deep integrity and wisdom and everything that you bring with it can really be transformative in people's lives beyond what most people have considered. So can you talk more? Well, I mean, welcome to the show. just dive straight in. Go ahead.
I just blasted you with a ray of light before the show, and you're still rating all the colors, I think.
I've had an interesting morning. Yeah, night and morning.
Deep breath, darling. This is literally what we were talking about before the show was, the 2020 is a vital year for transformation and change. And you doing this program to inspire change, is the timing of it is actually just so beautiful, because 2020 is all about mass global awakening and human consciousness waking up. They're going to start seeing things from a different perspective. So what we're going to be having is these changes coming onto the planet are going to be global, and we've seen some of it already. If you look at the bushfires we've had in Australia, you look at this coronavirus that's going around the world. So these things are all triggered to wake the masses up who are still living in zombie land, who are still unconscious and not aware of energy. They're not aware of their spirit body. And yes, it's coming. So yeah, all the changes that have been resisting is really going to be put smack bang in front of them in 2020 as an opportunity to make real deep life-changing decisions.
So that's exciting and scary to hear, that it's all going to just show up for us whether we're ready or not.
Absolutely.
So it seems like this year, how is it different than another pivotal year, say like 2012?
Well, 2012 was a pivotal year because it was a mark on a calendar. It literally was a moment in time for us to take stock and breathe and get ready for the changes that are going to happen. And from 2012 right up now till 2020, we've had these opportunities to re-examine our life, to look at the way we earn our money, the way we run our relationships, the way we bring up our children, the way we set up systems that govern us, whether it's education or the law or safety and security. We've had that time to look at it. So 2020, when I've been doing predictions, Jeremy, for about 10 years now. And when I started in November last year, 2019, I started looking ahead into 2020. I went, oh my God, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. This is the biggest prediction and energy that I've ever had to sit with. And I literally sat for about 4 weeks, just feeling the information come through and beginning to compile it, because I sourced the ancient systems of colors, numerology, and astrology. I used the planetary information and come up with an energy forecast for what's coming up. And as I was building this for 2020, I could just feel like the tsunami wave coming at me of change that's going to hit, and it's going to affect every single person on the planet. And then, of course, my biggest source of inspiration is the color mirror system. And this is a system that's made by Melissa Jolly in South Africa. And I have been working with her and her system since 2003. And she has colored dual color. You can see the colors behind me, but she has these bottles that have got colored oils and essences on it. Now, for example, this one has got magenta on top and copper at the bottom, and it's number 20, and it's called Awakening. And I got the sense that humanity was waking up to something in 2020 that was bigger than anything. And so all the events that are going to happen have to be triggered at a global level to have us begin to question the way we do things, if that makes sense. And then if you add 2020 together in numerology, it comes to 4. And in the color mirror system, again, the number 4 is this bottle with yellow and very deep turquoise. And that was called Uranus. And anybody who knows astrology knows Uranus is a planet that we just don't like, because it comes in with that lightning, sudden change and disruption of the old order and changes. So combine awakening with disruption of the old order, it's inevitable. 2020 is huge. It really is huge.
Wow. So how would that look for the people that, like you said, the zombies, or the people that are kind of the Walking Dead, or just that aren't awakened? How would it show up for them as opposed to how it would show up for people that are on their awakening process?
For example, I can give that to you. This is how it would look on a simple way. Somebody who is afraid of the coronavirus, so they go, I don't want to travel, and I'm going to not travel at all anyway now because this virus is out there. So for people who are not awakened to energy and spirituality, who feel that, dark forces or other people or illnesses have power over them, would make us a decision like that and be quite logical and quite sane. And we know from somebody who's awakened spiritually, they wouldn't pay any attention to that, because they know that you will attract what you put out there, what you fear you're going to attract, what you judge you're going to attract. So we would just go, well, I'm going to travel and it's fine. So they will travel and they wouldn't get sick, because we have that knowledge. We know that about how energy works. So in 2020, there's going to be this where somebody's going to actually question that decision to not travel. They're going to go, oh, what if I just decided to be positive? What if I just decided to not be fearful about this and go and enjoy my holiday anyway? So it could be as subtle as that. But then, of course, it could be a little bit more dramatic where, in Australia, the bushfires, Jeremy, just think about it. Thousands of species have just suddenly disappeared off the planet with the fires that are happening there. You can't wrap your head around it, right? But now think about this. All the fires and the DNA of those animals have gone up into the ethers and become smoke clouds. And that smoke cloud has gone right around the planet a few times. We're literally breathing in and pulling in the DNA of these beings. So somebody who's not spiritually aware would look at that and just go, oh my God, the bushfires, the poor animals. And then they'd say we need better environmental controls and we need to make better decisions about how we work with nature. A spiritual person goes, oh, wow, we are now so deeply connected with these beings. They're not gone. They're still there. We might not see them. They might not be part of the planet. They might not be in physical bodies anymore, but they're a part of us. They're not lost. They're a part of who we are. We're literally breathing them in. They're becoming part of our crops. They're becoming part of our buildings. It's literally dusted the planet. So can you see it as something other than a disaster? And yeah, so the awakening to how are you going to see and view things and judge things or process them. I think that's very, very important for this. It's kind of subtle in a way sometimes, but are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's very different perspectives to look at things. And the one I'm reminded of is life is happening for us, or we could see that it's happening to us, which is the way a lot of us are raised. And that's quite an unraveling process on its own. And it seems like what you're saying is kind of the maybe less awakened way of looking at it is all the horribleness. It's, oh my gosh, all these species are dying, like we're doomed. And then it just keeps going with this negative string of potential.
But what we need to wake up to is that we're also creating new species all the time. It's evolution. I always get a little bit, I look at people who are living on the coast and they go, okay, well, now the sea's encroaching on my property. It's like, well, that's what nature does, deserts become forests and forests become deserts, and oceans become deserts and vice versa. This is the evolution of the planet. And so climate change is a hot subject because people talk about how we're affecting climates and climate change. Climate's been changing since the beginning of time. It's a part of the process. So again, do you look at it through a narrow view and get really angry about it, or do you look at it through a wider view and see everything as perfect? Everything that's unfolding is perfect. And then that means we don't buy into it and create negative scenarios, or have the need for these rallies and roaring about let's save something, because really it's great if you do it. If you have a cause and you want to follow it, you have a charity, you have a project you believe in, and you're passionate about it, it's really great that you have that. But in 2020, the awakening is to see things, everything that you're involved with, from a different perspective. So, I want to give you an example. I predicted I've had a lot of predictions come true already on what I've done and what was channeled through me. It's not even from me. It just comes through me. And one of them was Prince Harry. He's in a number 1 year, which is in numerology is the beginning and doing something really different. But having his number 1 year with his 2020 awakening energy, if you look at what he's done, he's walked away from his family. He's walked away from his inherited duties. He's decided to have a beginning that is not just about, hey, let me find a new house for me and my wife in a remote part of England and kind of just retreat. No, I'm moving to another country. I'm going to have my own business. I'm not going to, I'm going to stop all the work that I used to do with my family. It was huge. So, and again, we have an opportunity to look at what he did. Do we see it and judge it as he shouldn't be doing it? Or do we see it as from the spiritual, putting your spiritual goggles on and looking at what he's done as inspirational? And of course, you have the right to be who you want to be and live any life you want and make changes any way you want. So that's another example of the change can happen in a very unexpected way. Have you had changes sort of the last couple of months coming into 2020 that you found is making you look at things differently?
Yeah. Definitely reminders of the power I have to choose how I'm looking at those things.
Yes.
So lots of reminders to get much more hyper aware of if I'm looking at something from a negative standpoint instead of how it could be positive, instead of loving whatever it is that shows up.
It's gonna be a challenge for people to love a change coming up, because the change could on the surface appear to be either catastrophic or doesn't make sense, but you got to follow you got to follow your heart. And I'll give you an example. What happened to me was I had a very successful television show on social media, thousands of views. And I had followers built up for 2 years, over 2 years that I was doing it. I was interviewing some of the top entrepreneurs here in Canada, having spiritual chats with people in business and finance. It was very exciting. And I really thought I was on purpose. I had this vibe going, speaking to spiritual and very materially driven people and showing, that there's no judgment and that everybody's just contributing to their lives. And I thought I was doing this really amazing thing. And earning a really good reputation and branding, and everything was great. People were starting to pay to be on the show, so that it was beginning to be financially viable. And all of a sudden, I got this message: stop. And anybody from the outside looking in would think I was insane. Why would I stop something that was successful and working? And then people were queuing up to, because I was sometimes booked a year in advance. I was booked out for these shows. So what happened was I just got a message it had to stop. I had to switch gears. And before I even knew the gear I had to switch into, I just canceled the show. I refunded people their deposits and said, that's it. We're not going to have a show in 2020. Doesn't make sense. But I felt a feeling in my heart that said, time to change gears in a different direction. And because I didn't resist it and I let it happen, the most magical things have started happening the last couple of months. I mean, I'm happier in my work and working with the colors and the numbers and the planets and all these courses I'm creating from Online Academy, super focusing on that and not being distracted by other things. And so I'm hoping that will be inspirational for somebody gets a message to drop something that's possibly financially viable, and you get that feeling you got to do it because something better is going to step in.
That takes a lot of trust to get to that point in practice, to trust that guidance that much, right? That's been one of the things I found to be one of my gifts in this life, is that I'm highly intuitive, yet the challenge is not believing it.
There's a shift in 2020 around that as well, Jeremy. And I know prior to the show we spoke a bit about it, that manifests from the brain, and we manifest from this thinking body. And so how can you trust your brain when you look back on your life and you see how much trouble it got you into? you got history, you got the records, right? You know, trust that. And the truth of it is, it's not about trusting that. It's about trusting what's feeling right for you in your heart. And that again is another part of what 2020 is about. So if you look at the bottle number 4, it's got the yellow on top that says seek out joy in 2020, very important. The bottom, if you're sitting here with this incredible, beautiful, deep, dark turquoise, and turquoise is the color that's related to the age of Aquarius, so we're moving into the future. So 2020 is the foundation for the future. What are you going to put in that foundation? If you need to trust yourself more, trust needs to go in the foundation. If you need to love yourself more, love needs to go into the foundation. But you can't do it with your head anymore. It's impossible. And we were talking about how people manifest and how they have to visualize and create vision boards, and how that process works, and super focus on it, and go down the alley and you'll get at the end exactly what you focused on, and be determined, stay on course. That's all going to fall out by the window. It's kind of the way that we manifest with the brain is you have a 50-50 chance of it working, literally, because your polarity of equal night, equal day. So 50% of you go, I want a new car. I want a Tesla. That's it. My dream car is a Tesla, and I'm going to focus on getting that Tesla car. And you visualize it, you put it in your vision board, and only 50% of your brain can actually work consciously at creating you the opportunities to draw a Tesla car towards you. The other 50% is your shadow side, and it goes, let me see, how can I make this that it does not happen? What can I trip up? So ready to sabotage things and opportunities coming towards you to get your Tesla. So you're creating with polarity consciousness. And that's going to change. In 2020, a lot of people are going to wake up to the fact that you've got to do it from the heart. You've got to do it from that intelligence in the heart, and visualize it and feel it from your heart. And if you go into the heart and you start feeling how it needs to feel for you, then you'll begin to see how it will look for you, which means then the manifestation process comes in.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how to start working with some of this? So you've got an amazing color therapy program, if you will, to help with predicting some of these things, but also to support us. How can you introduce the program, and then maybe explain some of how these colors affect us? Like, it's just a color, like a bottle of some stuff. Like, how does that make a difference in real life?
That's another magical part of the healing, because if you're going to manifest from the heart, it means to get into the heart chamber, you have to clear the debris of all the emotional blocks and hurts and pains and patterns you've had. So you need to do therapy work. And it doesn't matter what modality you choose, you need to actually clear yourself and do spiritual cleansing and emotional cleansing, and to be able to access the heart. So it's not just going to be a case of, oh, let me stop doing polarity manifestation, let me go into the heart, and then everything's just going to happen for me. No, you've got work to do. And where color comes in is, it is a frequency that can get into your physical body, because you need to clear the debris from within the body. Your body is an energy system. So what can you besides invasive surgery to open you up and for a surgeon to go in and fiddle with you, the things that get into the skin is color and light and sound. That's it. And color and light is the same thing, because white light gives you all the colors. They're frequencies that can go in. So the most powerful modality you can use to really clear yourself and to clear those patterns, so you can access that consciousness in the heart and manifest amazing things, is to me is sound therapy and color therapy. My favorite modality is obviously the color therapy. And it's as simple as picking a color, bathing in it, rubbing it on your body, really engaging with it, letting it get through your skin. There's spritzer essences and color mirrors that you spray around you. You breathe in the essences, the colors go into your auric system. So that to me is a speeded up, and it's also, color and sound therapy is a very fast frequency. They do things quite literally at a speed of light. It's a very quick way to cleanse yourself and to move forward. I've got people that are, for example, Reiki masters. I know you do Reiki as well, and you practiced it. So people are Reiki masters, and they have a testify that they can work with somebody, but the minute that they bring color into it, everything's amplified and speeded up. The process happens so much quicker. So I think for the age of Aquarius, we're going to find that those traditional, because of course color and sound is very traditional therapies. If you look back at all the tribes, what they used for healing, it was color and sound. And it's just going to come back into fashion again.
Interesting. Yeah, some tribes have used a lot of color. You can see in kind of their culture. And then some may have lost it, but I think that there was a lot of color back in the day. So how did you come across this color therapy?
I actually was never interested in colors. I had my grandmother died, and I started seeing her and thinking, why can I see dead people? And then the next thing happened is I had a near-death experience. I actually died and left my body, and I floated out of it, and I was looking down at my body on the bed, and the doctor working on me, and my son standing next to him, and I was like, oh my God, I'm dead, and this is it, and I'm still around, and stuff into my head. I always tell people that the weirdest thing is that I saw a cobweb in the corner of my bedroom up on the ceiling, which I've never noticed when I was in my human body. And I thought, oh shit, if I get back into my body, I just remembered to vacuum up this cobweb and clean it. And then the thought got into my body, was born. And I thought, okay, I'll go back in. And then I remember the angel saying to me at that point, it's going to be painful, and it's going to take you years to recover. And it did. It took me 7 years to get my health back properly. But I went back into my body, and because I was really paralyzed at that point with a meningitis virus, and I went back in, and it was reborn spiritually, and became interested in talking to dead people, because I understood then that everything's energy and death is an illusion. I became interested in studying spirituality. I joined a spiritist church, and I became a medium, and I started to do platform work and give messages. But I found that a little bit restrictive, because when you're giving people messages from their loved ones, they become reliant on them and keep coming back to the same service and wanting to hear messages, and they're not really getting on with their lives. And I thought, no. And then I think it was at that point I realized that I'm an empowerment teacher. I empower people to heal themselves and then pass the healing on to others. And my husband at the time, an English chap, we were living in England. He heard of a color course, and he was actually interested in color therapy, and I wasn't. I was happily talking to dead people at that point and channeling, right? Yeah. And I kind of went along to meet this Melissa Jolly and her color system, to spend time with the husband, because him and I were drifting apart at that time. And I thought, hey, this is a nice fix. Let's go away on a weekend retreat. And and I didn't even think about the course. But the minute I walked into the room and I saw Melissa and I saw the bottles, that was me. I was done. I knew it. And then the marriage was finished at that point. He had done it, which is to take me to England and put me in front of color mirrors and Melissa, so that would be it. And then I became very passionate about it. And Melissa at the time was just starting with this color mirror system, and just got involved with helping with websites and some paperwork and getting things out into the world, and just taking it into Europe, which is where we started. I started taking it out to Europe and eventually South Korea, and did some work in America. So, but my first case study, I didn't know that color worked. I was a little skeptical, I have to say. I knew I had to. I didn't know why I was there. It was very bizarre, right? And my first client success story was a horse. It wasn't a human. The horse called Sam, who threw his rider, and the rider was told by the doctor, A, you're never going to walk again, and B, by the way, the vet says you've got to put your horse down. It's so spooked, it's uncontrollable. And she said, no. I'm going to walk again and leave my horse alone. He's going to recover. And we gave the horse, Melissa suggested we give this horse a bottle of orange oil, and the horse recovered and the woman walked. So everything was good. And then the next case study was my son. And my son at the time, he was 18 years old and he just wouldn't go out, didn't want to have a social life. He had terrible acne on his skin. He was red and craters of scarring on him. He was just so embarrassed about his skin and the way he looked. And we tried all the major medicines. And Melissa said to him, put this turquoise oil on your skin. And about a month and a half in, the red was gone. Another month and a half, all the scarring was gone. And it's never come back again. So, but it doesn't the physical effect, Jeremy. What it did was it allowed him to grow up. It allowed him to express who he really was. He came out of the closet and said, hey, Mom, I'm gay. And it gave him the strength to speak from his heart. Because turquoise is that higher heart energy, that where the manifestation and truth sits about who we are. He was able to speak his truth. And from then on, we just healed this relationship between us. And now he's been working with me in my business. He especially came out to live with us here in Canada as well. He immigrated to follow us. We have this incredible relationship. So color has given me a family. Color has given me a purpose. And I've witnessed so many miracles over the years. I could write books about it. And in fact, there is a book on it called The Wisdom of Color Mirrors. And yeah, people can get hold of that book. They will be it'll blow them away. Yeah, it's an encyclopedia of color. I'm passionate about color mirrors.
That's pretty awesome. I've not heard much talked about it in anything that I've learned. And so I think I've heard a little of color therapy, but no idea that it had such power.
Yeah. Think about it, it's light, it's natural. It's the most natural form of therapy on the planet.
Yeah. Huh. So what else is in these colors? Are there herbs, certain oils like that have a physical effect as well?
Absolutely, they do have it. Okay, so there's essential oils. First of all, there's essential oils in the bottles as well, and they're dual colored, so it's oil floating on water. So if people pick if you said to me, I have this problem, I wouldn't start talking about the problem. I'd say you go pick a bottle and put the bottle down. I'll start talking about what the colors mean, and that's your problem already there. You automatically, through the analysis, will pick the bottle that resonates with where you're at that time. And so we'd have a conversation about that. And at the end of the conversation, I'd say to you, okay, would you like to remove this from your body, get it out of your cells, and then you simply pour it in a bath, 3-week treatment, and it will smell nice because there's some lovely essences in there as well, essential oils, and it just does something, and things just change. And sometimes weird stuff happens, bottles will explode, colors will change. And we have in the system, we have an explanation for why these things happen, and we can go into a deeper analysis of it. And yeah, so it's just it's spectacular. I mean, I've been working with this since 2003, and I can't see me doing anything else with my life but working with colors, because it just is so accurate. Diagnosis in a lovely way what our emotional traumas and causes are. Over the years, I have worked with the medical profession. Of course, they can't declare that they do, alternative therapies, and we understand that. But the ones who have studied with us have just so enjoyed it, and it's amplified the way they work and strengthened them in the medical services they give. And I've worked with psychologists and psychiatrists who've also used the system in helping with the analysis with their patients. So we know that it can be applied for alternative, complementary, mainstream. It really can be used for absolutely anything. I've even used it in business, help people to change their business strategy, their marketing, their logo branding. Even the colors you use in your branding on your website is so important, because they speak a language. It's like a silent language that goes out and draws people in.
It's interesting because my website, earthiswakingup.com, there was just this particular color of teal, and that was kind of where the wave came from, and just it had to be that color, and I was pretty adamant about it. And
crazy teal, yeah.
And now that we're talking about awakening, it makes more sense. But I had no idea back then. I just no, it needs to be this color. It's just
And of course, you're in the we had a look. I've got this 2020 predictions program, which we were offering the viewers if they would like to purchase it. It's Canadian, $97, and it's really just a program to help you analyze what your colors and numbers, and your numerology planets are for 2020, and to help you navigate wealth, health, relationships, and so on. And I calculated yours before I hope you don't mind me talking about it, but I calculated yours before and you're in a 9 year. So, and that's a pretty awesome year. Numerology, traditionally, that's about the ending of cycles, right? But the energy of 2020, oh my God, it's huge. I mean, if you're looking at Uranus and awakening and your number 9 ending cycles, it's like you're going to be trying to end something and a new thing's going to come up and you have to roll with it. So awakening to action for anybody in a 9 year, definitely take action this year, Jeremy, for you. So, yeah.
So can you say a little more, like 2020 being, what's happening in awakening in 2020? Like, how relevant is this topic of inspired change and being on our awakening journey this year?
I think the thing we need to be aware of in 2020 is to not resist the change. It is literally to give yourself permission to go with the flow. It's almost as if you've got to allow a higher consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it, source, to be your navigator this year, to navigate you. And it's going to challenge your need to control things, your need to set goals and go, this is what I want to achieve, to the exclusion of all else. You're going to have to soften those edges and allow the universe to come in and inspire you and give you even more than you possibly thought. It's going to challenge your limitations. It's going to challenge your need to separate your spirituality and your materiality. It's because the age of Aquarius is huge. If you think about it, anybody that's actively in our spiritual community, having these kind of conversations and working, I think even we need to wake up to the fact how important we are. If you look back at the age of Pisces, the 2000-year age of Pisces, so that age was heralded in with the birth of Christ. And then for 2,000 years, you've had people follow a system of Christianity and various religions for 2,000 years. So whatever happened at the beginning of that 2,000-year period, that foundation that was laid, that was the event that was Christ coming to the planet, that was huge. Now, here we are at the beginning of the next 2,000-year cycle in 2020, laying 4 cornerstone foundations for the next 2,000 years. And there isn't a Christ that's been born, except we have all been born with a Christ light inside of us. Light workers and light bringers have come to the planet. It's almost as if we're all bringing that message of you've got to love it right and stop the wars and the fighting and the duality. And we're anchoring in those energies and that's why 2020, and I'm so passionate about telling people about 2020 and saying, please get hold of this predictions course, get hold of the information to help you navigate and build a foundation that's solid. This is not just now about building a foundation that's relevant to your life. This is about building a foundation that's relevant to the global consciousness that's going to affect the next 2,000 years. Just think about the enormity of that.
Yeah, like how did we?
Not just your.
So yeah, it makes me wonder how did we get lucky enough to choose to be here at this point in time to be the catalyst for that next 2,000 years and how are we setting the stage with our own personal evolution, our own personal awakening to set the stage for that?
Yeah. And if you think about how a lot of light workers will have the conversation with you around nobody understands me, nobody gets me, nobody knows what I'm about, I feel so different, I feel so, of course you are like nobody else. You've come from a planet of such high consciousness, or a plane of such high consciousness, because that's what needed to come in. And you with your army, your soul army, had to come with this mission to implant in the foundation of the new age of Aquarius, whatever your specific and unique gift is. So if you think about it, if you had to leave a legacy, Jeremy, if you leave the planet and you had to leave a legacy, what would it be?
Oh, just an imprint. I think of, I think like we mentioned earlier around hope, that we can have hope in life, that there, I think that's what inspires all of the topics that I bring onto the summit is that we do have hope. There are better ways of doing things. And if we can consider what else that we haven't learned about yet, what else is out there? And anytime I find a new topic, a new technology, a new modality, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes! And I want to share it. I think that that we can really transmute that old way of thinking that life is just what we see in front of us, and that it has to be hard, and all of those challenging ways that we've experienced in the past, that we're actually in a much faster, higher vibe way of living now, where we can transition from that old way of thinking, that heavy, stuck energy, and getting that moving and flowing better, to where we can transition quicker and really be here to create a new world.
Yeah. There you go. That's why you're on the planet. And you volunteer. That's the whole thing. It's, when this planet said, hey, I'm the new age is beginning, and I need fresh ideas. I need a fresh beginning. I need a fresh foundation. The human consciousness is dense. Come help me lighten it up. We were the ones who put our hand up and said, hey, I'll go to that planet. And then at the same time, the back of our head, we went, oh no, we've been there before. It's not easy. But I'll do it anyway. I love that planet so much. I'll do it anyway. So you come to this planet and you're thrown into being human. You're thrown into the human, polarities that they play, the games they play. You have to inherit the patterns of the family and the gene pool, and you have to work through it. And every single person on this planet who is currently deciding, I'm not going to live my parents' life or my grandparents' life. I'm going to create my own life. I'm going to be the master creator of my own destiny. I'm going to create a vision for myself that's brighter, is adding to this light that is the future age, a new age of Aquarius. That is how important it is. And what I can give people like that advice, who are like us, who come to this planet and kind of still reeling from, oh my God, I'm a human, what am I doing here? Trying to remember their mission, is listen to the elders in the ancient tribes, listen to the shamans, listen to those teachers, and pay attention to what they say, because they are the living soul memory on this planet of what happened at the last transition. And how did we transition the last 2,000 years? They know how it works. They've got the wisdom to guide us. And that's what we're beginning to remember, is to connect with their teachings, connect with their soul information, because they're the ones who's reminding our generation, how do we transition one age to the next? So ancient systems like astrology, numerology, and color psychology is vital. With the combination of these elders, you will be able to do a good job in getting that foundation for the future laid down.
Yeah. So in this new age, how do some things work differently? Like, say, the law of attraction, is that still the same, or is that shifting?
Definitely. Anybody who's teaching how the law of attraction, and of course I'm up with my hand up, I wrote a book, 8 Colored Prosperity, how to use colors to work with the law of attraction. And you're going to find more and more books like that is going to come out, and it's going to talk about how you manifest using frequencies that is not coming from the brain, and it comes from the heart. It comes from, because color is about a feeling. Color gives you a feeling. Color gives you, every time you walk into a different color room, it's going to evoke an emotion in you. It's going to evoke something to make you feel warm or cold, or calm, or maybe it'll agitate you. So color is a feeling, and frequencies like that is going to change the way we manifest. And we're going to understand that when we speak, there's color coming out through the sound waves we are carrying. When we walk around the planet, the colors emanating from our body that we absorb from the sun, that becomes part of our body and then leaves us and becomes our etheric or auric field, those colors influence how we manifest and what we attract. And people become more conscious of that, because it's color. Just think about it. You take color from the sun, and gives you a life force. That life force then becomes part of your physical body. It keeps you alive. If the sun died, we'd all die. Everything on the planet dies if we didn't have the sun and the light coming into our bodies and our chakra systems. So that color then is around us, and that color influences the prosperity we attract and how we work the law of attraction. And it also helps us to access that higher heart center, to really do the manifestation, and that forward thinking and planning that we want to do. The visualization comes from that higher heart.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk before about certain colors affect different things, like abundance, like that it's not just any random color, it's not just intention, but the colors, certain colors and essential oils can help accentuate those particular things that we're going for.
Yes.
So,
I did a color experiment with a group recently, and I challenged them to wear one solid color for one day and keep a journal and note how are people responding to them when they wear that color, and then again, how are they feeling and what thoughts are coming up and what emotions are coming up, and what's changing for them when they wear just top to bottom solid one color. And one lovely delicious girl, she decided she was going to wear orange head to toe, and so when we came back to feedback what happened to you, she kind of blushed and went a little bit pinky. She said, I had sex. And we all gathered around laughing because, she was in a relationship that, things were a little bit stagnant and a little bit slow and stale in that department. The minute she put on orange, that her husband got the signal, hey, I'm on.
Oh, wow.
The orange changed the intimacy between them. So it will happen. And then I had one of the other students wore turquoise. There was actually two of them that did it, but one particular one wore turquoise. And I'm sorry, are you still there? My camera clicked off for a minute. She wore turquoise, and she said everywhere she went that day, people were asking her about her courses and her work. And I said, of course, turquoise is the color of the spiritual teacher. So, yep.
Oh my gosh. So like a gratitude journal now, I want to start a color journal. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about changing how we can predict or manifest. So I wonder, you do a bit of some prediction work with the colors. Is there anything more you wanted to say about that?
Well, just on the 2020 predictions course that we're offering viewers, if they're interested in investing in it and supporting both our businesses through that and the work that we do, if that in there is their year number, their color, their planet, and lots of information, but I'm also teaching it in a way that they can use this information to offer prediction readings and energy forecasts for their family and friends.
Oh,
so it
wow.
keeps on giving.
Wow. So you're empowering people, not just doing sessions, but empowering them.
Yeah.
Wow. How amazing. So you've got a free gift that you're offering, a master meditation for 2020. Do you want to mention anything around that?
So you broke up a little bit there, so I didn't quite hear that question,
okay.
Jeremy.
Your free gift, the master meditation for 2020. I just wanted to see if there's anything you wanted to mention about that.
Fabulous. There's a link that they can go listen to that meditation. It's popped on my academy where they would also see the 2020 predictions. And on that meditation takes them through different color rooms where they have different experiences and sets the tone for what healing needs to happen to let go, to move into 2020, and what to activate to take on as an enormous gift and potential for 2020. So it's a 33-minute master color meditation.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. And then your product offering, the 2020 predictions course.
Yes, that one, they just go on the link that you're going to supply them with this, and they can, it's 97 Canadian dollars, and it is 7.5 hours video and slide lessons. But just that is if you're going to study the whole thing. I would suggest you just study the portion relevant to you, which will be about a 2.5 hour study. And you can view it anytime you want. It's going to be up live for the next couple of years. You can go back to it at any time. And just, and then you can use the rest of the information for when you are reading the year numbers for your family and friends. You can access that as reference. There's also a downloadable PDF manual, so you can have it as a quick reference if you're on the go and you don't want to go back to the video lessons.
Great. I want to recap that that you didn't just use your brain to come up with a logical system for this, that this actually came from and some divine guidance.
I'm passionate. One of the things I found when I was studying spirituality was I would say to myself, if only I knew that was going to happen, so I kind of had to begin to figure out, actually, what if I could see what was going to happen? If I had an idea of something coming towards me, and would I take that opportunity to, to change and accept change easier, for example. So I've been doing predictions for about 10 years now, and they're pretty accurate from the feedback I've got from people, the global ones as well as the personal ones. And but most of it, I'm very passionate about it. I'd love people to know what's going to come so that they're forewarned and forearmed and prepared and ready. And so that they can just have a little bit of help while they're on this planet that can be so difficult.
And that you also gave up a TV show that you ran to put this together and do this work. So clearly you're coming from your heart, and it sounds like that was a tough thing to give up. Which
not really, because the predictions for the age of Aquarius is more and more technology coming in. So we need to embrace and love technology more. So creating an online academy now is the way forward. It's so I can reach people all over the world, and they can study with me and through the technology based systems. So I'm really just going with the guidance that's come in. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for teaching that, for being a guide for us to learn a new modality that's so effective.
Yeah.
I guess no, I was just curious if there were any other examples that come to mind around experiences or differences that people have noticed. Just any last final stories, testimonials, or
Yes, there's plenty. They've been flying in thick and fast, and yeah, you'll find them on my Facebook group. So just to tell people to join the Magenta community, because people are posting. It's a closed Facebook group. Ask to join it. The Magenta community is where we share our success stories, where we share where our predictions have actually happened, or in even and if you become a student of my academy, you actually can join a closed group just for students, where I also give free bonus lessons once a month and answer questions. And there again, students are putting testimonials in and giving feedback as to what's happening. I think a lot of them, the main gist of the feedback that's come is people being faced with a changing career, wanting to leave their jobs or go on early retirement, and feeling that fear of plunging themselves into the unknown. And after having studied the predictions and looking at the energy forecast and literally being given a way or options to look to explore, have felt very safer about making those decisions to leave jobs and either start a business or go into retirement or taking a course of study or go traveling. Yeah.
Great. Any final words of wisdom that you'd like to offer our listeners?
Okay.
I know you've shared a ton already. That's just a question that comes to mind.
Okay. Really just to focus on what is your gift, and take 2020 as your opportunity to leave a legacy for 2,000 years embedded in human consciousness. And in the focus, if you're of service, serve. If you're here to teach people about love, teach them about love. In your case, Jeremy, you're here to teach people that there's hope, that there is another way. Do that. So whatever you feel called to do. Maybe you want to teach about forgiveness, compassion. Maybe you want to teach about being charitable, or you want to teach prosperity. It doesn't matter what your key thing is focus on it and hone in on it. And don't try and ride 3 or 4 different ponies. Don't try and do 3 or 4 different businesses and ideas. Take one, really specialize in it, embed it, and make that your legacy for the new age of Aquarius.
Great. Wow. Great. Thank you for everything that you shared. Thank you for the free gift, the offering, so that people can get to learn more about you and work with you more, and be empowered to support those around them. It's just awesome. I haven't seen a whole lot of that. Usually people are trying to work with me, but to empower, I find that if we're all in this together, why not? So.
Part of our mission is it's no longer about the singular I, it's about the we. And the sooner we step into that and start the sharing process and break down the barriers and believe that there's not enough to go around, of course there's enough for everybody, and we begin that collaboration, those type of projects, the quicker we're going to embed a really beautiful way forward for the next generations to follow in our footsteps. So Jeremy, thank you so much for this opportunity. I love talking, any opportunity I can get to talk about color and inspire people. So I'm really grateful for this. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much. And I want to thank the listeners as well for tuning in. Till next time, much love.